Top 5 black blocking slot receivers.
Here we
now,
go.
you're going to say, I don't want to hear that some of these guys weren't slot receivers, okay? Because, Hawk, I'm going to look for you to co-sign on some of these guys because a lot of these guys did work in the slot. There is only one active player on my list right now, and he is actually a joy to watch block. Huge part of their offense over there. Number 5 is Alan Lazard.
Okay, that's a tough one. I got to hear the rest of the list.
I don't think of him as a slot.
I don't think
They
of him
line
as a
him
slot
up.
either.
In fact, they run the unstoppable Marcus Colson play.
Everybody
where
lines up in the slot. That doesn't make them a slot receiver.
He was a slot guy a couple of years ago, too. He's
Okay.
lined up
He needs your
primarily.
help. He asked
I
you.
don't-
Wait a second.
He's
Wait a
lined up
second.
primarily in the slot this year, too, and they run Marcus Colson slant, which is a 7-yard slant in the goal line that is just totally unguardable.
Is Marcus Colston a slot?
No, but he was tight end eligible.
But he's lined up in the slot, is what you're saying.
Yeah, everybody lines up in the slot.
Has
Like,
Randy
everything
Moss-
is interchangeable.
Has
Changeable.
Randy
At a
Moss
time.
ever lined up in the slot?
Yes, I'm sure.
Really?
In football, there's like everybody lines up in the slot at some point.
But he
That's-
did
Alan
ask
Lazard.
you, as someone that I can say this to the audience and everyone involved, we are very eager to make Andrew Hawkins a teammate here with us who we never have to punch in the face.
Yes,
he has
thank you.
asked you before we've started to please co-sign, not argue with his slot designations.
Oh, yes.
You and me are in the
Sorry.
same place where it's like,
Well,
that's not a slot
He
receiver.
said he needed to hear the rest of the list. I'm telling you, if you look up in Pro Football Focus, Alan Lazard does work in the slot.
He does.
And
PFF.
as part of their running game, if you see a running play, chances are Alan Lazard is on the inside, and they have he's crucial to their running game.
All right, I like it. All
He's
right,
the
let's
only
do it.
active guy on my
I
list,
wasn't
too.
so much arguing that he was a slot as much as I'm like, is he number 5? I got to hear the
Okay,
rest.
number 4, Charlie Joyner.
I like Charlie Joyner there.
Pretty good.
He's good.
Okay, all right. Number 3,
All right.
I feel a little bit better. Miles Boykin.
I don't know.
Not a good enough career?
Uh,
Dude did work inside.
Not a good enough name.
Number 2.
Wait a
name.
second. Miles Boykin is
It's a
good
pretty
name.
great name.
It's a
No,
great
I
name.
know, but no one's heard of him.
But it's
Okay, well, you've heard of the top 2.
All right, here we go.
Number 2.
You threw a Klein saucer at us.
I did.
Number 2.
Hawk is a professional football
On
player.
the,
He hadn't heard any of the 5 guys. on your
Mezzalars.
list.
I've never heard the name in my life, not even players. I've just never heard the syllables of Klein saucer said together.
Number 2 has gotten away on multiple occasions of punching teammates in the face.
Here we go.
Steve Smith.
Yeah.
Slot guy,
Is
you can
he a
back me
slot
up.
guy?
Now, later in his career, he was outside, but early in his career, he lined up in slot, and even at his height, he was using the slot
I'm
a
giving
lot.
him slot just based on body type. It's why I wouldn't put
It's messed
Lazard in
up.
the
That's
slot.
that's why
When
it's
they made the
messed
Super
up.
Bowl, guess who was in the slot? Steve Smith.
Steve Smith. Okay. I got to call Steve on that one.
right.
He'd
Number
be
one's
like,
gonna
ain't
be-
no damn slot.
No, because there's
He
a
would be so
connotation to slot.
offended.
Yeah, he would be so. Yeah.
Yeah, but dude was an incredible blocker.
Yes, and he was aggressive to your point about workplace. But go ahead.
All right, Ken Wisenhunt used this player a lot in the slot. You're not going to say
No
he's a
way.
slot receiver.
Oh my
He
gosh.
lined up in the slot all the time. He is like the prototype when it comes to blocking. He also was born without an ACL. Number 1 is Heinz Ward.
Heinz Ward. All right. I'll give you Heinz. I'll give you Heinz for sure. Jarvis Landry not being on the list. Bump out Lazard.
He was OLI.
Put Jarvis at number 5. And then I'm good.
You are fine with Jarvis Landry.
You gotta
What-
watch Lazard work.
You are. I feel like are you choosing a
Does he really
teammate
have
there?
to?
You're choosing
Jarvis? No, I never played
You
with-
never played with
never
him.
played with
okay, so he
Jarvis.
got to Cleveland after you were there.
Yep. I would watch his tape though, and I'm like, "Ooh, this guy is." He gets after
he
it.
seems particularly nasty.
Yeah, I love it. I love it.
He's
I
like-
love every piece of it.
Because of what's happened the last few years to his career, and I know he had a good game week 1 and he's been dealing with injuries, and the injuries have kind of caught up to him, but he's one of the more underrated guys in the league. I've always
Yes.
felt Jarvis Landry.
No, there's not a receiver that plays as hard as Jarvis Landry over the course of his career. When I'm talking about hard, when I was like, he was younger than me, and I would put his tape on and watch it every week to get myself like, yo, I got to play harder because look at the way Jarvis Landry is going. It was little things going on here in Miami, but when you turn the tape on, I can see every reason why he was pissed off because this guy was putting it out there.
And damaged his body enough that had to go to a 1-year deal because he plays that way.
He plays,
had to,
man. He
Had to
puts
go
it
to
out
the
there.
Saints, and his body has to be ravaged by the
Yes.
way he plays. Because you say hardest you've ever seen and didn't even play with him. That's just
Didn't
you
play.
watching him.
Every play, run play, pass play, decoy, main guy. Like, Never turned it down. That's what I look for when I watch players. When you get to that point, that decision-making point where it's time to knuckle up, do you turn it down? Jarvis Landry never turned it down.